Let me just say a few words before I introduce the speaker on this topic. I myself am a sociologist, and there has been some information sort of developed over the years, of course, with respect to these issues, and I just would like to make a few comments. This workshop, of course, emerged from the concern over the impact of growing economic inequality on opportunity, or in other words, on intergenerational fluidity. This concern, of course, is well-founded. 25 years ago, sociologist Andrea Tyree and her colleagues concluded from a comparative study of intergenerational mobility in 24 countries that, and I quote here, where income is more equally distributed, circulatory mobility is also greater. Where income differentials are greater, social origins are most powerful in determining social destinations. The data and methodology did not permit them to go beyond these cross-national, descriptive, if you wish, perceptions, but nonetheless, I believe these are quite powerful. Israel, by the way, at that time was one of the more equal societies in their study. Similar findings, however, were also found for different countries. In Britain, for instance, there was data on different cohorts where it was clearly shown that cohorts facing different inequality at the societal level had different opportunities for intergenerational mobility. The focus here today is unpacking this relationship, and I believe that was, of course, the essence of Wither Opportunity. The focus, of course, is on the institution of education, but I would want to say that while education is still a major and the major mediating factor in intergenerational mobility, I believe that we need to acknowledge its limitations in addressing the ills of growing economic inequality. First, greater concentration of resources at the top of the socioeconomic hierarchy means that rich families can use their resources to counter any benefit that policies try to bestow on the less advantaged. We will, I think, be hearing of at least one such example of this dynamic in the next session that we will have today. Second, even in the cases where educational policies provide offspring of disadvantaged classes as opportunity for achievement, it is important to take note of a point made by sociologists Richard Breen and John Goldthorpe a couple of decades ago with regard to intergenerational mobility. They pointed out that modern societies are actually not meritocratic, in the sense that children of the disadvantaged class origins have to display far more merit, as indicated by educational attainment or IQ and effort, than do children of more advantaged origins in order to attain similar class positions. There are important social and cultural reasons why this is the case. These are beyond the scope of our present workshop. Nonetheless, I think the above caveats should alert us to the fact that education policies and reforms alone are not sufficient for delivering greater equality of opportunity. And the point made earlier on by Dick notwithstanding, I would say that creating a more level playing field actually requires reversing the trend of growing economic disparities and providing greater equality of economic security and stability across social strata. This, of course, is a political issue as well as an economic issue, and one that it has already been said that's very difficult to tackle. With these points, I would like to turn to a more detailed discussion that we will hear today about inequality and its antecedents in Israel by Professor Joseph Zeira. Joseph, or Yossi Zeira, is the Aaron Michael Chilovich Professor of Economics at the Hebrew University. He specializes in macroeconomics. Among his important contributions is his work on inequality and economic growth, which is highly relevant to the topic of our workshop. In a paper written 2 decades ago, I believe, with Oded Galor, and published in the Review of Economic Studies, they showed, contrary to conventional wisdom at the time, that inequality may be detrimental to economic growth. This, in some respects, undermines a central foundation of the support for economic inequality. In his talk, he will review trends of economic inequality across and within countries, with specific attention, of course, to the determinants of inequality in Israel. So I invite Professor Yossi Zeira.